How's it going, Critter Family? I hope you all are doing well. Today we are going over a video by Be the Boss Dog Training. How to leash train a dog, no pulling. When I hear the name of Be the Boss Dog Training, I automatically think that's a red flag. Because you don't need to be the boss of anything. And that tells me that there's likely compulsion and no positive reinforcement in this training. But we'll see. We shall see. So let's get started. If you already like her and you want to support her, then go do that. I'm not here to tell you that you only have to support me. You don't have to support me at all. I'm just trying to spread awareness to give dogs a better life.
I'm back with a video that everyone has been asking for. This is how do you leash train and walk your dog in one walk without food,
Wow, in one
without stress.
walk. In one walk. She's saying you're going to leash train your dog in one walk. No treats, no whatever else the other one was, and no stress. It's definitely stress for the dog. It is absolutely stress for the dog, not the human. You're going to do this in one walk. You know, there's a saying that says it's a process, not an event. Training is a process, not an event. You're not going to get it done in one day. You shouldn't do it in one day. If you have someone that is telling you that you can get accomplish your dog from pulling to no pulling in one walk, that means that their technique benefits you and not the dog. So compulsion is what I hear.
Today I've got the answers and I'm going to show you how to do that in about 30 seconds. Okay guys, thanks for joining me out here.
Okay, so I see a prong collar and I see a slip lead and we see a poodle off leash.
I'm just going to go over briefly the tools that I had already talked about, but I have a standard leash here. If you're going to use
that is like a 2-foot leash. That is not a standard leash. That is a 2-foot leash that you probably knotted up and braided up yourself.
Prong collar, so I'm just going to set this down for now. So it doesn't matter the tool that you use.
It does actually. Absolutely it does, because you could use a choke chain, you can use a piece of barbed wire around your dog, you could use prong collars, you can use star mark collars, you can use a regular flat buckle collar, you could use a harness. The tool very much matters because it depends on how comfortable or uncomfortable your dog is going to be. And if you misuse those tools, like a slip lead or a choke chain can choke your dog. It will literally choke your dog out. A prong collar can also cause damage. All those tools can cause collapsed trachea in your dog. I mean, hell, even a regular flat buckle collar can also do that, but the tool matters.
The methodology is the same. So as I'm talking today, I'm going
yank
to be
and crank is what she's going to do.
Methodology and not necessarily the tool. But I want you to be aware that if you're struggling with your dog, you are allowed to use different tools that work. So pick and choose what works.
So, okay, so no matter what, if you get frustrated, you're allowed to take it out on your dog. You know, you're allowed to, I know that's not what she's saying, but people can see it that way. You know, oh, okay, if you're frustrated with one tool, don't be afraid to bump it up to the next more cruel, archaic, abusive tool. If a slip lead doesn't work, a flat buckle collar doesn't work, a harness doesn't work, you know, it's not about the methodology. It's about the tool. Or I guess she said it's about the tool. It's not about the tool. It's about the methodology. So if your methodology worked, you wouldn't need a different tool. None of this works. I mean, it works. Okay, I'll take that back. It does work, but you have to be harsh and abusive to get it to work. You have to be, if you try one tool and it doesn't work and you have to go up to the next tool and the next tool and the next tool, then your methodology has failed. Or you have failed the methodology. Say we're using positive reinforcement. And you're trying to teach your dog using positive reinforcement not to pull. Kiko Pup has a great video called Pressure and Release Game for Puppies or for Dogs. You know, check it out. KIKOPUP is the name of her channel, Kiko Pup. And it's the pressure and release game. I also have a video that I show I put in the description of every video I make of how I taught Adonis and every dog I work with pressure and release, not using these archaic tools. I use harnesses. I could even use a regular, 1 inch to 2 inch wide flat buckle collar on the dog's neck that has nice surface area. Not these little pinpricks of the prong collar or the thread-like noose that goes around your dog's neck with a slip lead. So if you're using positive reinforcement correctly, then your dog will stop pulling. If you're using it incorrectly, then you're not using the method correctly. If you're not using this method correctly, even for her methodology, which I think is a failed methodology anyway, you know, I think it's meant to set the dog up for failure and the human up for success. I guess really both of you up for failure. Because if one tool doesn't work, then you just go up to the next tool and the next tool and the next tool. You know, I mean, you don't need to use any of these tools. I'm not saying that when I say that, that doesn't mean that you have to follow me. That doesn't mean you have to listen to what I say. Go follow another trainer that you like. You know, there's Zach George. A lot of people hate on him. I think he's fine. Victoria Stillwell. There's Kiko Pup, as I mentioned. Grisha Stewart. Positive Training. Training Positive or Positive Canine. There's all sorts of great trainers for free that you can follow on YouTube that you don't have to pay. Just like you're watching this channel for free, or my channel for free. You don't have to follow any of us, but just try to do what's best for your dog and what benefits them. The prong collar, the slip lead, they don't benefit your dog.
Your dog. So I've got a standard slip lead here around the neck.
That's not a standard. That's like a 2-inch, 2 foot.
Collar.
I've never seen a slip lead that short. That's like a 2-foot slip leash.
So the slip lead, it will choke the dog if you keep pulling on it. The prong collar does not.
No, the prong collar will still choke your dog. I've seen dogs choke your dog if they keep pulling on it. Anything will choke your dog. A flat buckle collar will choke your dog. A harness that's the wrong size will choke your dog if it slides up into the trachea and the esophagus area. Anything can choke your dog.
Slip lead is not as intense as the prong collar.
She's being honest.
Is more intense, but you don't have to use as much force. So again, there's...
So why do you want to have to risk using force with your dog? But why is force so much better than using a treat? I don't even use treats when I teach loose leash walking. Why not using treats? I don't use treats when I teach loose leash walking. I use light pressure release on a harness that clips in the back. If you want to see how I do it, then check out the video in the description below. It basically, if the dog starts pulling, then we stop moving. I apply a finger's worth of pressure, just, you know, enough pressure, not even enough to take this off my head, as much pressure as I need to get the dog to take one step back in my direction, moving against, you know, in the direction of the pressure. And as soon as that happens, I loosen the pressure on the harness that clips in the back. Okay, if I'm using a collar, then I'll move the dog sideways, left or right, because I don't want to be pulling back on their throat. And we just do this little 2-step dance. I don't have to rely on pain. I don't have to rely on fear or force or pain compliance or any of that. I don't have to rely on a tool. It's just that method of teaching spatial awareness. And again, Kiko Pup has a great demonstration of this on her channel if you would rather see her. At least she's being honest, though. I will give her credit for being honest. That the slip lead will choke your dog. I don't know why you're offering it, though. Or that the prong collar will, you know, is more forceful and more intense than the other one.
Each tool. For Odo here, I'm going to use a prong collar because my goal is to not be forceful, not have to use a lot of communication with him.
You're not using any communication. You're just hurting him. And you are being forceful by using the prong collar if you expect to get him to walk nice and soft in one walk.
Just want to communicate with him once, and Odo...
Okay, so it's going to be a very forceful communication to only do it once.
There is a high drive dog who isn't really a people pleaser. So I'm going to be...
Well, who cares if you have a people pleaser? Good for him. My Shiba wasn't a people pleaser. Who cares if you have a people pleaser? I don't want... If we are so... And you're not entitled to having a people pleasing dog. Meaning that he's going to probably fight more and not be this passive dog where you can do whatever the hell you want to with him and he's just going to be okay with it. Good for Odo.
Using the prong collar, but feel free. You can even use a regular collar. You can even use a harness if you want.
Okay.
But again, I'm not a fan of harnesses and regular collars. I would prefer either a slip lead.
Why are you not a fan of those? Maybe she said so earlier, but it doesn't really matter because she's be the boss dog training. It's her methodology because she doesn't know how to use a harness or a regular collar. Thank you, though, for offering that.
or a prong collar.
And that's a 2-foot slip lead.
So let's go. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick close-up of how to put the prong collar on. If you want to know exactly how to put it on, comment below or message us. I do have a video where I can show you exactly how to do this, but for the sake of time, this video is not about how to apply the prong collar. This is about how to walk your dog. So comment below.
So has this dog ever had a prong collar on before? I'm assuming
so. Let me just show you very quickly how to put this prong collar on. Okay, so there is a D swivel ring, and that is where the leash should be attached.
If it's this confusing for someone to understand how to use a product, why do you even bother putting it on your dog? Because you can have so much risk of behavioral fallout by overcorrecting your dog. If there's any risk of overcorrecting your dog, I'd much rather have a mistimed treat than a mistimed correction, because a mistimed correction means your dog tries less. I mean, if there's any risk of hurting your dog, and this can absolutely hurt your dog, that's how it works, is it causes pain, it causes discomfort at the very least. Why do you, if you have to do this much explanation on, for a person to learn how to put on this tool, why do you even bother?
2 is the D swivel ring. I attach the leash first.
The 2-foot leash,
and then
which means she's obsessed with heel and control. She doesn't give the dog 6-foot leash.
Prong collar comes apart at any link. You can take it apart at any link. And I'm just going to go ahead and put it around Odo's neck. It's going to go high up.
Poor dog. The dog was fearful of her. She had to go catch it. She had to have the camera person hide behind it so she can trap the dog to put the damn prong collar on.
High up, right behind their ears.
She's correcting the dog now by putting pressure on him. Anytime there's pressure on this collar, she's correcting him. She's teaching him to be loud and have hard, like she has hard hands and loud hands that are all over the place. She's teaching her dog to be loud and hard. That's a saying from the horse world, where you have a big bit, you make them hard-mouthed or numb-mouthed because the bit goes over their gums, their sensitive gums, and over the bars of their jaw, which is bone. And you teach your horse over time to just ignore that, ignore loud, hard hands. And same thing with dogs. I mean, dogs and horses are entirely different species, but some of the terminology, the situations can still be the same.
We're just going to attach the link just like that, and the leash should be on the side of their neck just like that. Okay, so now that the prong collar is on, how we're going to start is we always want to start, if you're in your home, we always want to start at the threshold. So basically that just means walking up to the door, asking them to sit. So how are you going to ask them to sit is you're going to give them...
You're not going to ask them to sit. You're going to force them to sit by pulling up on the collar.
Pop, and we're going to say...
That's not asking. That's forcing. That's pop. And then sit. It's saying, I'm telling you, I'm commanding you to sit.
Sit.
Ouch. And that was 2 pops. He's confused.
Yes, good boy.
So instead of asking for a sit, waiting for him to sit, and then rewarding him with going through the door, you don't have to have a treat, or by treating him, then, I mean, you rely on having the prong collar and the leash with you. Why not have another little treat for you, or just going through the door as a real-life reward? But you're going to pop him, forcing him, sit, and then he sits, and then he doesn't get any other reward other than he doesn't get corrected again.
If you noticed, I didn't haul him. I didn't manhandle him. I told him to sit, pop, pop, and then I gave him 4 or 5 seconds to think about it and then act. If he didn't sit, I would have popped him again, firmer, and asked him to sit.
Oh, wow, yeah. So you're so kind because you didn't hold it up and hang him by the collar. You didn't manhandle him, but you would have given him 2 more firmer pops on a damn prong collar on this poor dog because you don't know how to teach sit without a tool like this.
This is how you're going to come in and out of your household with your
Wow,
dog
that
before
sounds
the walk.
wonderful.
As I walk, I'm going to be talking. So if you have any questions about what you're seeing, drop them in the comments below. And let's go. I say break. As we're walking,
she has to drag him forward with the prong collar.
You're going to walk at your own pace. You're not going to let the dog determine the pace. So it helps.
Oh, so yeah, because your dog, you control everything in their living day that they don't get to go outside to go pee. They don't get to go outside to go sniff. They don't get, clean water if if you don't want to give it to them. They don't have to have any water if you don't want to give it to them. They can't even choose what type of food they eat, how much food they eat, when they eat, how often they get to eat, where they sleep. You control everything in their life, including how fast they walk. Dogs walk faster than humans. So if you're going to be a lazy human, or you're just an ignorant human who wants to, this is not for the people who may need to walk slower. You can teach your dog to walk slower too, that out of necessity, but this is not out of necessity. This is just out of, pure will that you will, I am the boss of you, dog. I chose to put you into my life, and now I'm going to control every aspect of your life. Even though it's a privilege to have a dog and not a right.
Helps if you speed up and if you slow down. That's going to help your training of your leash training.
Because you're going to...
Time to cross. We're going to do that same pop,
pop, pop, pop. Ow, that was 3 pops. That's 4 or 5 pops.
Good boy.
So she popped him before even telling him to sit. So it's learned helplessness. He can't even decide, or think for himself when he should stop. She didn't give him a chance to stop before then. She should have said sit further back from the curb. He got 5 corrections there.
We're going to say break to release them. Break. As we're walking, your arm
He's
should
shaking
be nice
off because the pops are irritating to his
and
neck.
loose. A lot of people
If it didn't cause pain or discomfort, then how would it work?
do this because their dogs are pulling, so it's going to be nice and loose.
Pop.
The leash should be loose enough so it's loose when the dog is by your side. But if they move too far this way or forward or back, you're going to feel tension. So if you feel any tension on the leash,
This 2-foot leash has now become a 1-foot leash.
you're going to go pop, pop, and
Sorry, one sec. There was
you're going to
I don't know if that's her video or my internet.
say
But
heel.
we're gonna-
So I'm going to demonstrate this to you. I'm going to speed up my walk. And whenever I feel tension, I'm going to give him a pop. So this is what it should look like. Let's go. Heel. So I
Okay, so she corrected him as she said heel. He's been healing the entire time, so now she's just popping him willy-nilly because she can.
give a pop, and I say heel.
You don't need to do that.
And I'm gonna slow
Entirely
down,
unnecessary.
And if you're too far forward, I'm going to
Ouch.
say heel, pop, pop.
You only need 1 pop if you're going to do it, and if you have to continually pop your dog on and off a dozen times or more, then you need to stop using this technique because you're just being abusive now. You're just being unnecessary.
Alrighty, and now we're going to cross
This
the
dog
road
clearly
again,
already
so
knows
we're
what to
gonna
do. Why
I'm
are you
gonna say
correcting him?
sit.
Ouch.
Good boy.
Lip lick.
Look at me. Yes, good boy.
I sound so nice right now because this dog that's now this learned helplessness, slave, and I'm the slave driver. I can sound so nice, so it sounds like I'm not hurting this dog at all, but if I wasn't using a prong collar, how the hell would it work?
It's crucial. Your dog needs to look at you.
Yawn,
So many
stress
people's
yawn.
dogs have their nose to the ground. They see a kid on the bike. They're sniffing. When you stop to cross a road to come out of the house, here's how you're going to get your dog to focus on you.
Pop him again.
Odo, I popped and I said his name.
Ow, ow, ow. Ow, ow.
Yes.
How many times did she have to correct that dog before she whistled and the dog looked at her? Ignorance. Just so unnecessary. I didn't care if my dog looked at me. If he gave me an ear, that was enough. My Shiba Inu, more independent-minded than this poodle. He fought back when you put a prong collar on him. He nipped at the trainers that tried to force him to sit. And good boy, good for him. I used this nonsense on my dog, and I popped him harder than this when I became frustrated with him when he was young. And he yelped and he cried. I used a choke chain on him until he developed a collapsing trachea that affected him until he was 12 years old. I forced him into so many situations that was not okay for him. Dogs don't care that you try. They don't care what you try. They don't care what you want. They care what you do. Just like a child. They don't care that you tried your best. If you you screw them up as a child, or you give them a life that was not ideal for them. Same for your dog. I mean, dogs are so much more forgiving. Adonis never held a grudge against me, but I promised him that I would give any future animal, any future dog, any chance I could, a better life. This is so unnecessary. I know this firsthand. Aside from having education, I guarantee this woman doesn't have an ounce of education in her brain. Aside from outdated methodology, or just watching Caesar Milan, or just putting something on and trying. When my Shiba was around, and he would give me an ear, that's all I needed. I knew he was listening to me. I didn't force him to give me eye contact. Could I have taught him that? Sure. But it didn't matter. That was not a priority of mine to be this overall leader. Certainly not the boss of my dog. We were a team. We were partners. He was my companion, not my slave.
Good boy.
Not my
And
property.
break. And I'm going to walk fast. And if there's any tension, I'm going to
So you're
say,
not even
heel.
giving your... She popped him for no reason. She's not even giving this dog any chance. It's learned helplessness. No matter what he does, it's always the wrong answer. She doesn't even give
And
him a
pop,
chance.
I don't want my dog to put their nose to the ground. I don't want
God forbid they sniff and act like a dog.
them to sniff. I can already hear people
Ouch.
who message me angrily and say, dogs should sniff on a
They
walk.
should, absolutely.
Dogs should sniff on a walk if you have the kind of relationship where you can get their attention 100% of the time. Dogs are not allowed to sniff if you can't get their attention, right? This should
No, that is your methodology. That is your ideology. That is your morals. Don't tell other people what to think. I'm saying this is my opinion. You do not have to think the way I think. It may come across as that, but you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to do anything I say. You want to put a prong collar on your dog? Go put a prong collar on your dog. I can't stop you. I'm just telling you what the dog is thinking, what is going on through their mind, and that there are better options for it. I'm putting my energy towards the wrong people, the people in the comments, but dogs are absolutely allowed to sniff, even if you can't get their attention 100% of the time, because nobody has 100% of anyone's attention 100% of the time. She's making excuses for her blatant
mostly common sense. So now I'm going to slow down.
ignorance.
Pop, pop.
Ouch. She didn't even give him a chance. She's not even telling him, giving him a cue. If you want to speed up and slow down, you can give your dog a cue. You can say easy. That's what I do when I'm trying to slow down a dog when they're walking fast. Or I can say, come on. And then we go faster, and then easy, and then they slow down. But she doesn't. She just pops him as she gives the cue, the command. Sorry, she gives a command. She's just a slave driver. Just this poor dog.
Heel, when I go fast or slow, I pop and I say the word heel. The reason I'm saying the word heel...
You don't need to do that. It's unnecessary.
Because the goal is not to keep your dog on a leash all the time. Ready?
Oh, so now she's telling you your goal is to be able to have an off-leash dog because you're breaking the law by having an off-leash dog that is not completely in your control. And that's very advanced. Stop trying to make people, give people the excuse to have their ill-mannered dog off-leash or abuse their animal until it is reliable on-leash or off-leash, sorry. Whose goal is it? That's your goal. That dog was perfectly fine off-leash. That was a very firm correction.
Thank you. Look at me. Yes.
He doesn't care about you.
The goal is not to keep your dog on a leash all the time. The goal...
Who cares? Yes, it is. What if it's somebody's goal? Who cares if your dog ever gets off leash? There are leash laws for a reason. You're not entitled to have your dog off leash. Even if they're in control, other dogs are set off by that. Keep your dog on a leash.
With my program is much better than most programs.
Oh, yeah. Off leash with my program. I'm so much better than other programs. You know what? Screw you, lady. You're so full of it. Get your head out of your ass.
Goal with my program is your dog, we're going to get your dog off leash trained. So
abusively. You're going to abuse your animal so much that your dog will develop learned helplessness and be afraid to move. Like the poodle was in the beginning of this video. He was afraid to move away from her because guess what? She uses this prong collar on him so damn much and so harsh that he's afraid to even take a step without her. And even then he gets corrected because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing.
Saying heel is going to get them to a point where they don't need a leash. You just say heel and they come and walk next to you. So right now I'm going slower.
This poor dog.
Watch how he matches his pace to mine.
He's afraid of you.
I'm going faster.
That's not impressive.
Heel.
Pop.
Watch how he matches his pace to mine. I can stop, pop, pop, tell him to sit.
Why? You should be able to tell him sit and he sits automatically. You should be able to stop and he sits automatically, which he would do. But you are so rewarded by this correction and power that you feel so strong and empowered. And I'm not talking about, empowerment of women or men or anybody else in any other genre of human being. Okay, I'm all for being empowered, but this is not it. This is like the barn witches that feel so empowered because they have abusive bits and whips and spurs on their horse, and they feel so empowered that the first women were able to jump their horse off of a 10-story high diving board and into the water, and that probably killed the horse. But no, women did it, so we're empowered by that. Or the first man on the moon, the first animals in the moon. There was a dog that went into space, the first dog into space, and it died. It was never expected to come back. It died a horrible death, whether it starved to death, ran out of oxygen, overheated, or froze. The ship came back. The ship came back to Earth in rubble. People don't care about animals. They only care about people.
Yes, good boy. And break. When you tell your dog to sit on a walk, they should not get up until you say break.
I don't care about that. Right, I can tell them stay. I can just go remind them to sit. I'm not this overall ruler and leader and be the boss nonsense.
Sit.
Ouch. That was 3 pops.
Look at me. Yes. Break. All right.
She doesn't even take into account how hot this asphalt is or the concrete is, if he's burning his feet or not. I don't know the temperature outside, but people like this don't care about the dog at all. I'm going to end that video here. This is a bunch of BS, a bunch of nonsense. If you want to follow her, then go follow Be the Boss Dog Training. If you want to support her, follow her program, do all that nonsense. If you like anything I do, then it is very much appreciated. I know I'm catering to the wrong people when I think about the people in the comments, but thank you so much for everyone who supports the channel and supports Patreon and supports the membership. I mean, you guys are amazing. You really are the reason why I keep doing this, and also giving dogs a better life. So thank you so much to everyone out there. Hope you all are doing well. Go say hi to your little critters. Say hello from me. Give them something that they appreciate. And until next time, practice peace, patience, and positivity.